Kenneth Dobbins. Man, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks so much for doing this.
Of course, bro.
I asked everyone this question, sort of. Why did you say yes? When I asked you, like, hey, do you want to come on the podcast? Why did you say yes?
Bro, honestly, I had watched a few of your reels on Instagram. Thought they were really cool. I was admiring the professionalism and how everything looked. And I was like, this is dope. But like, also just like, when we had met each other at men's retreat, I could just sense something was different about you. I don't know why that's making me cry. But yeah, there was something different about you. And, yeah, I could just sense that God was doing a work in your life, and just like just genuineness. And so when you asked me, I was like, okay, yeah, like it's an easy yes. Like, so there's very evident something clear that God wants to do in this man's life, and he's using him in a mighty way. So I was just like, why not? You know? So yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, we're starting strong. Thank you for that. To be honest with you, I don't know why I was just like, oh, let's ask Kenneth. I see you are kind of the epitome of the man in the background that's making things happen. Like, I just know that you're making things happen on a Sunday morning, in our community at men's retreat. And I know how much more is done not on stage than on stage. Both from a production perspective, from like how the church operates, but also from a community perspective. It's just like the people that put in the work that you never see are really the ones that I have seen do the most for the church and the church body. And so even though we've had very little interaction, yeah, I just kind of knew like, oh, Kenneth's got something to say. And then I walk in here because you're like, oh, I have an office at the church. I was like, oh, we're going to go to the church offices because I know that you're on staff. And I was like, oh, that's going to be tight. And you're like, no, I have an office upstairs. I was like, what? And sure enough, I come in and you're a therapist. Yeah. Like, you have so much wisdom to say. And so I'm pumped for this to be a time where maybe, I'm sure you do a lot of listening. Hopefully you will do more talking than listening. Because for me, the goal of this is always, hey, God's done an incredible work in people's lives. And the people who are loving and serving the church, like, they have a personal story and testimony that is motivating and is the foundation of why they're a part of this community, while they're serving the church, while they're participating in the gathering. And we don't always get access to those things, right? We only have our community, and then depending on how much people want to share, how deep they want to go, there's just so much that we're never going to get to hear. Yeah. And so for me, this has become a resource and a tool to get to know, and to not only for my own sake connect with and learn, but also to share. Because I bet you there are a lot of people who see the way that you serve and they're like, I wonder what his story is. Like, I wonder what's going on there. And then when we were at men's retreat, I did not expect you to be the person to lead the like meditation, because from afar, your vibe is definitely not therapist, deep emotional, like feeler. Yeah.
What do you like? What is the vibe that?
Well, when you told me like 5 minutes ago that you wanted to be a football coach, I was like, yeah, that like just like the stoic, strong energy of just like, I know what I'm doing. I'm getting things done. So like that like threw me off. But then it was like, I really struggle with, I'm very emotional, but it's hard for me to like, what I feel like sometimes is like facilitated it in the moment. Like deep breathing or sitting and meditating for me is hard to kind of do on purpose. It happens to me with life, but it's hard for me to sit and it's hard for me to not become cynical about like, it's just like woo stuff. Yeah. But I know it's real. And when we did that session at men's retreat, I was able to get lost in what the Lord was wanting to say to me in prayer. And so that also really surprised me, and just your vulnerability. And you know, it's hard to get a group of men to like choose to be emotional and choose to jump into imagination and all of that. And so after kind of those interactions, I was like, I should ask Kenneth. So I'm super excited that you're here. Truly. Thanks for opening up your space for us to get to do this. I want you to just give a high level kind of summary of who you are and what you're about for people who don't know you but know of you.
Yeah. So I am a licensed professional counselor. I also work part-time at the Well. So I'm a CG coordinator, what that stands for is community groups coordinator. So anything community groups related, I help out with. I also help our CGs be a little bit more intentional in serving the city, and empowering our One Place ambassadors, to be able to equip and, charge up their like community group to be missional. And then within my private practice, I work with complex trauma. I also work with athletes. I would say that's predominantly a lot of my population, but I also have a passion with working with people who aren't athletes. And so, complex trauma, depression, anxiety. Recently, I've been working with a lot of people who are trying to like navigate this weird dating culture that we've got going on, as well as just like, how do I just like be a grown adult as a young adult. And then I also, from time to time, I work with couples if I want to, which is like, it's always interesting when I say I want to, but it's just like, sometimes it's like what God really wants me to do.
Sure.
And so that's always interesting because I'll get people who are older than me and then they see basically literally what you had just said. Like I don't present as a therapist at all.
Yeah.
And so, but like they'll hear my voice on a phone call and then they show up and they're like, this is me. Yeah. And like, I don't have a beard. So I look like I'm like 21. Yeah. And then we sit down and then like I always pray like, Lord, allow for me to see what you see. And then the Spirit always just starts dropping nuggets and they're like, whoa. Yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah, we're about to, we're in there. Cause I'm also a very, very direct therapist and people are always like not ready for that.
Yeah.
But because we live in a culture that is so, trying to like handhold, I think in a lot of different ways, it just like shakes it up a little bit. So that's just a little bit about me. Oh, I'm also a husband. I have a son, father.
Dude, I love that. I think I'm going to relate to you in a lot of ways. No one has ever accused me of holding back in terms of sharing my opinion. And so I relate to being direct and also, this idea of like, I want to be a part of this conversation. I have no idea how I'm going to help you. And then as the conversation goes, the Lord's just like, oh, just say this thing. Or I'll say something and I'll be like, that's brilliant. But that is not, I've never thought that before. And just the way that, you mentioned like feeling wise beyond your years, which is kind of an impossible thing to ever admit. Right, because it's kind of like as soon as you admit that you're the smartest person in the room, you no longer are the smartest person in the room because to be the smartest person is to recognize that can't be your identity. Like you need to serve and not, lead in kind of a dominant way. And so it's hard when you navigate. Like I know that God's given me this maturity and this wisdom to serve and to even lead people older than me and farther along in life than me. But I can't advertise that. Like I can't lead with that because it then immediately becomes about me. So awesome. Yeah. You look like an athlete. Like you just you seem like that. And so it's so refreshing because I have always wrestled with relating to men in general because I am not very masculine. I did theater and music in high school. I wore white jeans for, most of the early 2000s. And I was wearing a bandana in high school, like just very effeminate things. And then who I am as a person, my natural disposition is to talk about feelings, to talk about fears and insecurities. It's not to talk sports and cars and girls necessarily. And like, I'm into people are surprised when they know I like sports and have something to say about it because they're like, oh no, you're the music kind of, guy.
Who told you that was not masculine? Cause like that's not like an innate thought. So like how old were you when you learned that was not masculine?
I think like early high school, I was able to say those girls like those guys. And they like those guys because those guys can do those things.
Man.
Primarily in high school, it's athletic ability.
Yeah.
It's good. It's conventional good looks, physical shape, and athletic ability.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if you could sing or play guitar, that was kind of cute in the like, oh, for some of those like romantic people who watch the movies and listen to the songs, they're into that.
Yeah.
But even like famous celebrities who like all the girls liked in high school, they were still like masculine, good looking dudes. And so I was like, well, I'm not those things. So I must be not like, they like men, they like manly thing. Like it just, yeah, I think there's just an innate part of me that was like, yeah, I'm not tall enough to be like a guy's guy. I'm not like, yeah, I don't have like a beard. I'm not super muscular. I'm not these things that movies tell me, you know, good looking, attractive, desirable men are. I don't meet the kind of basic criteria. And then on top of that, none of the guys want to relate with me emotionally. They don't want to talk about their feelings. You can't cry in front of a 16-year-old guy. Like,
it's true.
And we're all crying at home.
Yeah.
Like we're all crying alone, wondering whether or not everyone likes us, but it's certainly not a public. And what was tough for me is that I did not lack confidence in high school. So I was very proud of like, I'm going to be who I'm going to be. I don't care if you like me or not. So it was interesting because I navigated kind of I'm into the artsy things. I'm into the kind of more feminine things, but I'm very open about who I am. I'm very confident, and you thinking differently of me is not going to affect the way that I present, which I'm so thankful for. Like I've never been accused of not being confident. In fact, normally arrogant is the word that gets used from people who don't know me really well. And I'm sure arrogance is there more than I want it to be, for sure. But I have been blessed with the ability to just know, like, this is who I am. And I have no qualms about it. Like, security for me is something that God's really blessed me with, especially later in life. Was like, this is who I am. This is what I think. But in high school, I definitely was like, oh, I do not relate. And so now I think I probably have a very different, like the opposite maybe feeling of you, where people probably expect you to be the rough and tough, like very stoic, masculine guy's guy. Yeah. And they're like, oh, you're a therapist? Oh, you have these softer sides of you? Oh, you actually want to like get to know me and hear about my story? You know, even when I was sitting up here, you like continued to make sure you were looking at me when we were talking, which is like not something most people do. It's something therapists do, or people who understand what like good communication looks like. And yet for me, I expect people to not think I'm masculine, to not think I'm super tough, to think of me as less than as a man, and therefore like not a threat to other men in the dating scene, but then also not that desirable for women in the dating scene, because the older I get, the more women want like men, whatever that means.
Yeah. Literally.
And so, yeah, I feel like we probably have different views of the same experience.
Yep.
But I want to get kind of to the core of what this is all about, ostensibly, this idea of a wait what moment. And so for those of you who are listening for the first time, because you're a big fan of Kenneth, obviously, I really believe that the reason when people talk about and answer the question why I am the way that I am, they usually don't give some generic philosophical kind of idea. They give specific moments that happened to them, where they were going down a path in life and something happened. They lost someone, they learned something, they got the diagnosis, and they go, wait, what? This can happen? This is true? This is how the world works? That person could do that to me? And it makes them shift. Sometimes they double down on the direction they were going and go harder, faster. Or sometimes they do a 180 and go, I got to do something different. But usually people have stories, they have moments. And so for me, the quickest way for me to build relationships and get to know people is to learn about those moments. Also, I think that's what people really want to talk about. And they rarely get the chance to really talk about it. And so For you, when I mention like what moment in your life, is there something that really stands out to you? Like, yeah, this is it for me.
Yeah, bro. There's a few. Do I just highlight just like one specific one?
Yeah, just go. We'll start there and see what happens.
Okay. I was I would say, I think I was a sophomore in college. I was still a head offensive intern at the time. And I had just like, I'm trying to figure out how to live for Christ on a very secular college campus. And a lot of the guys took me under their wing on the team who were believers. And a lot of them were leaders in FCA. And just like helped me feel cool to be a Christian on campus, to be quite frank. Especially like the college I went to is very like a very liberal arts school. And so being a Christian, like there's a strong Christian community, but still it's just like still taboo. I also did not grow up in the South. So in Ohio, like there's no like you go to church because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. And South Carolina is real South.
Oh yeah.
In Texas, we're in Austin, so we feel like we're South, but like South Carolina is. My brother went to Clemson.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Cool.
So I've been there, but yeah, it's real South.
Real South. Yeah. And so, before I went to Clemson, I went to Kent State, and that's in Ohio.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it was fall camp, and we're all getting ready for walkthroughs. And just like for people who don't know what that is, it's just like you're just going through the plays that you are installing into the playbook so that everybody can log it into the memory, but you like literally walk through it and doing warm-ups. And so it's getting pretty late into the morning because your day is getting started around 4-ish. It's around like 5, it's around like 8 o'clock. And one of my close friends, Jason, he was not at practice, and he was at the time just like becoming more of a leader on the team and just making a lot of noise for himself because he was just doing really well. And so the coach comes up to me, he's like, "Dobbins, where's Bisco?" And I was like, "I don't know." He said, "Did you see him last night?" And I said, "Yeah, me and my other friend, we helped him move in and stuff. He's just getting settled." He said, "Do you know where he lives?" And bro, story behind that is that I wasn't even going to help him move, but there was just something within me that said like, "Hey, you need to help Jason move and just get settled into his house." And so I called my other friend who was living with him because he didn't play football. He was just his roommate. And I was like, "Yo, is Jay up?" He said, "Nah." I said, what were y'all doing last night? Did you guys go party, whatever?" He said, "No, we just watched." Jason loved Disney movies. He was like, "We're just watching Disney movies." I was like, "Did you guys have like anything to drink or anything?" He's like, "No, we just watched Disney movies and called it late." I was like, "Okay." So I get up to the house, whatever, run upstairs, knock on the door, do. "Jay, you're screwed, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You're about to get in so much trouble. I can't believe you're late." I see his feet on the edge of the bed. And so I thought maybe his girlfriend might have stayed over. And I was like, "Bro, you're really screwed. You're about to be held accountable for this."
Yeah.
I jump on the bed and he doesn't move.
Mm.
And then I turn him over and his face is black and blue. And he is not breathing. So I run out of the room. I was like, "Christian, Jay's not breathing." And he was like, "Call 911. And so he starts doing CPR. Call 911, bro. I'm distraught. This is the most traumatic thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Yeah.
They're asking for the address. I don't know the address. And so through just scrambled tears and words, they eventually figure out where the house is. EMS gets there. They don't spend very much time on him. They announce him dead on the scene. And that was hard, bro. Finding my very close friend, someone who's pulled me under their wing, dead in an instant. And, you know, like one would think the story stops there, but it doesn't. And because now I have to go back to practice and like I have to figure out a way of how to break this news to the team. And this is a brotherhood. And so the very first person I call is my dad. I'm bawling my eyes out. I'm like, "Dad, Jason just died." He said, "What?" I said, "Jason just died." He said, "What just happened?" I was like, "I don't know, but he's dead." I was like, why does this keep happening to me? Because like there's a lot of things that just have happened prior to it. I was like, "I am so mad, Dad. Like, why does God keep letting these things happen to me? Like Jason was my brother. Da, 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 da." My dad was like, "Son, it's gonna be okay. We just need to pray right now." And so my dad prays for me. I don't remember what he prayed, But I'm thank God that he did pray and that he answered. And so like I just get myself together. I run down the stairs to the stadium. Everybody's practicing. I go up to the head coach. He's like, "Where's Jason at?" In more explicitive words. I said, "He's dead." He's like, "Dobbins, stop lying to me." No, I'm serious. He's dead. He's like, "Bro, this is not a blank joke.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me the truth. Like if Jason tell me." I said, "Coach, I'm serious. Jay's dead." So they end practice. I go back to the coach's locker room. They let me have time to myself. They gather the whole team and they break the news to the guys. And like hearing that noise, like being broken to the team, man, that's something that's just like really hard to unhear. And I'm just like there, like sobbing in my hands, very confused, very broken, very hurt. And God just said one word. He's like, "I'm right here." Yeah, man, I would say like that's like the thing that God continues to like speak to me in really hard moments is like, "I'm right here."
Mm-hmm.
And that really like changed my faith. Cause I like when I was in undergrad, I was partying all the time. I was living 2 double lives and like trying to present as a Christian to this crowd over here, but then to this crowd, like not letting them know how much I am partying.
Mm-hmm.
And then God said, "Just as an instant as I give you breath in your lungs, I can call you home and you have to be ready. You have to be prepared." And that was, I would say the starting point of me recommitting my life to Christ. Cause up until that point, I wanted to be the cool guy on campus and not be like the weird Christian kid that I was often labeled in other different circles.
Man, I cannot. Yeah. I have nothing to say. I mean, there's just no way to, I have no idea what that's like. I can't fathom that. I cannot even begin to try to relate to something like that. So I want to say thank you. I keep meeting people who have taken the brokenness of their story and been able to actually use that as the testimony and the kind of key to unlock other people's brokenness. So like for you to now be a therapist that works with trauma, like you could have taken that like understandably tragic moment and justified a life of depravity and choosing to reject God and go do whatever, because that's just logical. Like what? Like how are you supposed to handle that at that age? And so my first thought is like the fact that you're sitting here now, still a young man, being able to like serve others going through probably similarly difficult things is like just a testament to like what God can do.
Amen.
Like nothing is wasted. Like I think we just finished the Lament series at the Well, and it's been an interesting journey for me. Last year was a hard year for me, and I experienced some hurt and some betrayal from someone close to me in a way that really left me picking up the pieces of a version of life that I had created that I didn't need to live in. And so God really, in the midst of what felt incredibly painful, revealed himself of like, no, you have created an idol that wasn't me. And it weighed so heavily on you that it broke you. And now, as you go through this season of lamenting, I am here. Like I have things for you that are better than this. And that's been my life the last year. And one of the things that I kept coming back to was like, man, none of this is wasted. Because the question of evil and why suffering exists always kind of is the pinnacle, challenge from the non-believer. If God's so good, if God loves me so much, why do bad things happen? And that's always going to be the most challenging question to answer. Yeah. And yet, my story and my experience is I have become the most holy, the most refined, the closest to the Lord that I've ever been through the trials of deep suffering, not through blessing. Mm-hmm. And so in some ways, like the nature of suffering is what has drawn me closest to the feet of Jesus to say, oh yeah, this is what life's about, right? The fact that you're saying in a moment, the breath can be taken from my lungs. Mm-hmm. You have to be ready. Yeah, that's exactly right. Mm-hmm. And so actually the eternal perspective of like, oh, this all doesn't matter because at some point we're going to go to heaven someday and be with Jesus feels trivial and feels almost nihilistic in a Christian sense. Yeah. It's actually the most fundamentally like relieving thing you can think. Mm-hmm. Like as someone who is single, craves marriage, desperately wants to be a father someday, wants to experience those things. If I were to die tomorrow, I'm not waking up face to face with Jesus and being like, where are my kids, bro? Yeah. Why didn't I get to be married? I'm not even thinking about that. Mm. I'm going to be like, oh, it's all real. Mm-hmm. This is it. Mm-hmm. And man, life on earth is a shadow of what you have for me for eternity. Yeah. And so suffering is helpful in recalibrating priority and direction. And so, yeah, man, it's weird to be thankful for how horrible things change us. Right. But what we're really thankful is how sovereign God is in taking the brokenness and not letting it be wasted and turning it into joy. And now your testimony is perfect evidence to refute anybody that would say, well, my life's been horrible, so I'm like out on Jesus. To be like, well, actually, I've been through some things too. Yeah. And yet God's redeemed me and changed me for the better. And I think that's so beautiful. As you step into a life of being a therapist and being in ministry, and it sounds like maybe walking away from some previous versions of life that you thought, what's been the biggest like joy for you in the midst of that?
In ministry? Or
yeah.
Honestly, there's so many different like moments of joy in ministry. I think that's like God's like sovereignty due to the fact of he knows the weightiness of the call of being in ministry. I would say one of the biggest things is like seeing a young man, young woman, older couple like break free from things that have been like holding them captive. Like the moment that they find community, or when seeing somebody confess sin for the first time, or just like at men's retreat, there are a few men that came up to me like, hey bro, I've been wrestling with X, Y, and Z. And like today was the day that like I laid it at like Christ's feet and I feel free. And I was like, you don't get that experience as a therapist.
Yeah.
It's being a therapist is a thankless job. But to be able to like be an active participant in someone finding freedom and seeing the Father rightly, bro, there's like joy is the only word that we have to encapsulate that feeling.
Yeah.
But like there's like this like heavenly like all consuming where it's like I can take on the world right now.
Yeah.
And it like everything else that's like stressing me out right now, it doesn't matter. It doesn't stress me out because like right now this person is broke free, or seeing a couple continue to fight for marriage and through infidelity or after a miscarriage, like those things, like getting in the stepping into the mess with someone
Yeah.
and reminding them like, no, like Jesus loves you. Like he's right here with you. It's amazing, bro.
Yeah. That's one. I've become a confession fiend. Like I have been a part of as just a participant and now helping serve in the recovery ministry at the Well. And I have just realized, oh, this is actually what CG should be. Like confession, I really believe this. Confession is the primary and most effective tool in building deep, meaningful spiritual friendships.
Yeah.
I just believe that. I think the biggest barrier to what a lot of people feel in church is, well, this is where I'm supposed to come and meet all my best friends, but everyone's got it together and I don't. And I don't know how to deal with that because in church, we talk about things we struggle with. We don't talk about sin.
Yeah.
We talk about challenges to overcome, not like deep brokenness. And so we look at something like recovery and think, I'm not that bad. Like, I don't need to be there. And we have this kind of threshold for once you get to a certain level of, sin, then you warrant recovery. Probably similarly to therapy. People are like, once I get to a similar level of like depression or anxiety or pain, then I should go see a therapist.
Yep.
And yet for me, I'm like, do you have 100% victory over sin? Yes or no? No, you should be in recovery. Because all of our life is a slow journey of recovery. We are broken by sin and we are slowly moving towards the perfection of Jesus. We're never going to get there, but it's going to be a lifetime of getting there. And what recovery really is regular confession of sin to say, here's where I'm at, here's where I'm struggling, and please come alongside me to know and to pour into. And the greatest life change that's happened for me is through the recovery ministry. And it's not because of the 12 steps. It's not because of some formula of intellectual pursuit of, well, I admit that I've done this. I make my inventory. I keep track of everything. I go make my amends. All of those things are incredible tools and you should do.
Yeah.
But what's changed me is the relationships that I've built with men who said, hey, here's the last 10%.
Yeah.
Because most people don't. Like almost no one actually does 100%. It's like we always have one thing or a couple things that we're holding on to.
Yeah.
And we're essentially doing that double life thing where it's like, well, I go to church and I talk about some of my struggles, but I don't really lay it all out there. Because I'm embarrassed. It's scary. It's shameful. And yet I think that's where like most of life is found, is like living in the light that First John talks about.
Yeah.
And so that's everything. And I leave Thursday nights of recovery just overwhelmed with like joy and connection. After I sit in a room where a bunch of guys go, here's where I messed up this week. There's a part of me that's like, my heart breaks for where we're still struggling 100%. But there's so much freedom and light when you see a guy for the first time confess, like, man, I've had this pornography addiction for 10 years.
Yeah.
And my wife just found out about it. But now she knows. And now I'm here. And the just burden that you can physically see it lifted.
Yeah.
And we do our check-ins and they're just sitting there like, oh man, I'm about to like say the thing. And they say it and it's like, look, nothing happened other than people loved you and forgave you and are now wanting to like pursue you and know you. And like, yeah, that freedom, there's nothing like it.
It's so true.
And it's like, and that comes from the brokenness and the sharing of that and the confession of that. It's life-changing. I mean, it's just life-changing.
What would you say to someone who has experienced like trying to practice confession, but have like been hurt by it? But while they're hearing you say that like there's beauty in confession.
My immediate thought is whatever that person said to you, that wasn't Jesus. Like when people talk about church hurt, when people talk about the pain of judgment and criticism from the church, they associate that with who Jesus is. And it's just not, it's not true.
Yeah.
So obviously probably the right thing is to say, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry that happened. But I want you to know that that's not what Jesus has to say.
Yeah.
It's just not, like, going back to that 1 John, it's like he says, if you were to say, I have no sin, you make Jesus a liar. Like, yes, the gift of salvation means God looks at you as perfect and clean because of Jesus.
Yep.
Like, you are saved by works, just not yours. You're saved by the work of what Jesus did on the cross. You are going to continue to sin. So to say I have no sin, or to keep sin to yourself because you think it's going to be better for you, is a lie directly from the evil one.
Yeah.
Because Jesus says you are going to continue to sin. That's why confession is a thing. You wouldn't need to confess if you were actually to sin no more.
Yeah.
And I know someone who, he's not interested in dating right now because the relationship that he was in, when he finally chose to confess the sexual brokenness that he was carrying, she was like, I'm done.
Wow.
And it's not even that that's not a fair thing. I think it's totally legitimate in a relationship where you're thinking about marriage and someone confesses like current sexual sin. Yeah, it might be the right decision to say we need to end the relationship 100%.
Yeah.
But in the way that it happened was just extremely demonizing of him as a person. And instead of honoring and being thankful for the confession, it was like, no, I'm just disgusted. That, I think, is where we have to remember, like, that's not Jesus.
Yeah.
That's not who Jesus is.
Yeah.
Jesus looked at a woman in the midst of adultery.
Come on, bro.
And said, I know that's not your husband. You've had 5 husbands. That's not him. And then he says, go and sin no more. Like, and which is crazy because we're actually all like, whoa, dude, why are you bringing that up?
Yeah.
Like, this woman just asked you, what do I have to do to receive eternal life? Like, in today's culture, that's a layup question.
Yep.
Oh, let me tell you, believe in Jesus. Jesus goes, well, go get your husband. Like, we're all like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But he is addressing her sin and then saying, go and sin no more. Not you're out. That's so different. And so for me, when it comes to confession, that's why I care so much about confession.
Yeah.
It's just like, you are not free if you are holding on to this sin. And the freedom that comes from really engaging in that it's like no other. And it's crazy because at men's retreat, Tori's session was about confession.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there being like, for so long, I would sit in talks like this and I would just feel the weight of like, oh, I should do it. I got so much, and it just feels so crippling because I would have all these things. And I remember sitting at men's retreat and just being like, bro, I do this every week. Like, I don't have this burden that I remember carrying. And the fact that I could sit through a message with joy and freedom and relief of like, man, I don't have to feel that anymore. Because all the stuff that I need to confess, I told the guy sitting next to me, I told him last week, and I told him the week before that. And I kept telling them, and it's like the joy is insane. It's just like, I can't explain it, because honestly, the fear of getting caught is actually worse than getting caught.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of effort and anxiety that goes into reputation management because of what we're afraid of will happen if and when we get found out, that's actually worse.
Yeah.
Like, that's more painful.
Yep.
Like, if you're about to blow up your marriage because you're having an affair, the stress of maintaining that is actually probably worse than what's going to come from the truth coming out and reconciliation starting to take place.
Yeah. Yeah.
People just don't know that. They just don't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they spend more time getting out of trouble than walking through it and coming out the other side redeemed and cleaned. But yeah, man, I think that's what I would say. But then again, like, I've had incredible blessing in my confession, and not everyone has had that.
Yeah.
For you, what's the hardest truth about God for you? Like, what's the thing that you know is true about God's character that just is a challenge for you personally in your own walk?
Yeah. That God will relentlessly pursue me, bro. Like, he knows my story. Like, he also knows, like, my thoughts. He knows everything that I do behind closed doors. And he still, like, chooses to relentlessly pursue me. And he still chose to send his son, his treasure, to die on the cross. Like, actually to be tortured, brutally tortured for me. Like, what? Like, and he knew that there'd be certain days that I would struggle to believe that he loves me. And he still, like, sent his son for me. And Jesus, like, willingly went to the cross. Like, he was like, literally, he's just like, this is the KD version. God, this is, Father, like, for real, like, you know what I'm about to go through. Like, can you just let this cup pass? I'm terrified.
Yeah.
I'm sweating blood. Like, can you let this pass? Silence. Like, God didn't say anything to him. And he still was, like, obedient to the call, knowing that Kenneth one day would question if, like, he loves me. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, that is, like, a really hard concept to, like, wrap my mind around, because of, like, just other instances where he's been faithful in his love towards me. But I've had friendships and intimate relationships where, like, they find out something about me, or they learn my truth. Like you had mentioned earlier about your friend, people are just like, ugh, that's, like, it's kind of messy.
Yeah.
And then people start acting awkward. They don't know what to say. And you can just sense it. And then everything changes. And so, yeah, bro, it's just really interesting to like, honestly process that out loud.
Yeah. Tori, in a sermon a while ago, was talking about, like, if he sacrificed his daughter for you, and then you came back to him 2 months later and were like, do you even love me? He's like, I'd pop him in the mouth.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? And yeah, it's one thing for someone to do something hard for you, and it makes sense because they love you, and so they do it for you. It's another thing for them to do it for someone who just has a lifestyle of rejecting them. Like, that for me is what's so crazy. And the Bible talks about, like, it's reasonable for someone to sacrifice for someone they love, but not for someone that, like, routinely spits in their face and makes a mockery of them and says, you're the worst, which, like, we don't say with our words to Jesus, but we often, that's how we treat him through how we live.
Yeah.
And yeah, Jesus loving me is a really kind of foundational thing that I don't think I feel it. And Matt Chandler talks about his kind of natural wiring is it's easy for him to believe that he is useful for the Lord, but not that the Lord really loves him.
Yep.
And I really relate to that.
Yeah, same here.
Like, I see how my gifts and talents can be effective for sharing the gospel.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. And so it makes me want to do good work. What's hard for me is to believe that God is not interested in my good deeds.
Yeah.
I mean, he's interested in it as far as it changes me. But, like, the Bible talks about when we try to present gifts, our good works to him, It's like filthy menstrual rags. What?
Mm-hmm.
That's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, dude, it's not fair. You're welcome. Like, I'm not interested in your good works. That's not what you're made for. I mean, you're made to look like me. And as you look more like me, you will do good works.
Yeah.
But what I want is for you to love me, to serve me, not because it's a transaction for you to get good stuff, but out of an overflow of love for me, you walk in obedience. And I think it's the thing that I'm most looking forward to as a father someday.
Yeah.
Is getting, I desperately want the kind of like manifest emotions of what I understand about how God operates. Like, I want visceral experience. Intellectual understanding is not enough for me, right? Like, I want to hear the voice of God. I don't want to just like have a thought that I'm like, that sounds like probably what God would say. Like, I want the experience. I think it's because I can't argue my way out of it if it happens to me.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that I really hope to see and experience out of being a father someday is, this is what God meant when he said, I love you like a son, or you're my child, or I discipline you because I love you. Like, I don't know that, but I know so many dads that say like, seeing myself as God's son makes a lot more sense to me now that I have a son, that I have a daughter. Like, and so I yearn for that because I want to know really like what that's like, because it's so hard for me to believe. Like you said, we have no context for a relationship like that. There's no one in our life where we could regularly disappoint, let down, and disobey, and we come back and they're not affected in any way. That just doesn't exist.
Right.
So we have no context. Like, I don't get it. And so when we talk about like, how do we pray when we were going through the Lord's Prayer, like, what do you bring first? I always bring confession first, because in my relationships, I cannot insult, disobey, and disappoint someone and then go and talk to them and pretend like that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, you always, whenever you've done someone wrong, you always have to get that out of the way. And so because of my view of myself is low, that's as it relates to like how I've treated God or how I've performed, I'm like, I have to first address all the things I've done. To not is insulting. Because in real life, in human life, that's how it works. You have to clear the air before you can re-engage.
Yeah.
And God's like, you don't have to do that. Like, that's not. I already paid for that.
Amen.
And I can't get that. Like, I know that's true, but I can't feel that.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel that. So that like fundamental truth of like, his mercies are new every morning. No, they're not. I mean, they are, but no, they're not.
Right.
How can they be? No one's like that. And so that like is fundamentally true, but I just don't know how to experience it. Like, I don't know how to let myself believe it. So yeah, I so relate to the like, God's pursuing me every day. Nobody does that. Yeah, no one does that. That's why he's God and I'm not.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, please.
How does that belief system keep you safe?
It doesn't. It's about me. Like, thinking that I have to clear the air puts the onus back on me to manage this relationship for it to go well.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I'm not a good God. Like, I'm a really crummy God. But I think that's what happens is I convince myself I am only worthy of asking for help if I have done my part. because that is how the world works.
Yeah.
I can't ask you for something if I've done you wrong. That's insulting to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually dishonoring you if I were to do all the things you told me not to do and then blame you for how it all went wrong
Yeah.
and then lie to you about how I didn't do those things.
Mm-hmm.
And then to be like, oh, but also I'd really love a couple things. And if you don't give them to me, I hate you.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't work.
Yeah.
But that's how I treat God.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's just like it puts distance. It doesn't keep me safe because it puts distance in between me and the Lord. Where I think, man, I gotta clean up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to pray because if I pray, I got to start addressing these things. And some of these things I don't want to change yet.
Yep, that part, bro.
And I'm not. I know what you're gonna say.
Uh-huh.
I know what you're gonna say. And I think the thing that I'm trying to learn is like, how can I go to Jesus with a confession of like, I'm not ready to change?
Sheesh.
Because I don't think I believe that that's an acceptable prayer.
Yeah.
I think I believe, like, I know it's not true, but what I think I believe is to go to Jesus and ask for something while holding on to sin is actually wrong and I shouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure we're supposed to just bring everything to the Lord.
Yeah.
And what I hear from parents is there's nothing that I don't want my kid to ask me for, even if it's selfish, even if it's not good for them. I want them to ask me because at least then I can have a conversation and engage with them.
Yeah.
But if they don't ask me, I can't help. I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm not safe in that. I just don't know how. But even that question is like, it's not going to be me. Like, it's not like I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to intellectually learn. I want to figure it out. I sat down with David Eade a couple weeks ago, just one of the wisest men that we know.
Shout out.
And I was just like, I want to get here. And he was like, Dave, I got almost 30 years on you. He's like, do you think it's your fault that you're not as close to God as you want to be?
It's a good question.
And I was like, well, it's not God's fault.
Yeah.
So yeah. He goes, no, it's not. You're 29. That's what he said to me.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, like I have put so much weight on me for my relationship with Jesus. He is in charge of this relationship. He's in control. I'm just supposed to be faithful. I know it's true. I don't care. I want to be in control. I want to take control. I want to do the things to be able to say, we're close, we're tight, we're figuring it out. But no, it's not my fault. My sin is my fault, but also my salvation's not my fault.
Yeah.
Like, it's not in my control. And so it's more about just stopping the analysis of my life and stepping into just like the intimacy and relationship. I just don't know how to do that outside of a works-based approach.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to learn, is like how to be in a relationship with Jesus without working for it in kind of an official capacity. Okay, so you mentioned, I know this is switching gears.
You're good.
You mentioned that you in your conversations and work, you get into the dating world. Just unpack that, because I have some strong feelings about dating culture, especially in church, that no one talks about. And yet we're all kind of experiencing. Tell me what you mean when you are saying like you are in that space talking about that with people.
I'm typically empowering men to step into the confidence. Well, I work in the secular world, so I'll say, like, I'm speaking from the God lens. They don't know it.
Yeah.
But if they're a Christian, I remind them to step into the confidence and the gifting that God has given them to be a leader. So do not be afraid to initiate conversation, or you see a girl that's beautiful. Hey, I think you're beautiful. You don't have to say that, but at least like compliment her. Hey, I like your hair. Like, my name is so-and-so. Would you be interested in going coffee? What? Yes, bro. Like, God has given us authority over like a lot, which also includes our fears. So like, you can like step out in confidence and believe that like you have authority over your fear. She might say no, but that's okay. Though it's a big world.
Yeah.
Somebody is going to say yes at some point.
Yeah.
So that's for men. For women, it's reminding them that they are worthy of being pursued. Like, you are a treasure. You are a gift. God created you and he said you are good. Like, you have to remember that. So you don't have to go out here and like throw it all to the wind, basically, to try to get male attention. You also don't have to do everything to try to make it work. Like, you are worthy of being pursued. Now, if you want to be the pursuer, that's great, but still create space and opportunity to be pursued, because there is some young girl inside of you that desperately wants to be pursued because she felt overlooked at some point and stage in her life. And like, what an awesome opportunity to allow for God to remind you that you're worthy of being pursued. Yeah. And it's just like, it's such a foreign concept.
Yeah.
It's like the Hinge, Tinder, Bumble, Facebook dating. No knock to any of those things. Those are great. I have friends who have met their spouses and are now happily married. Amen. And also, it's still a form of social media. Yeah. So it's like, it's a consuming thing. Like, there's a reason why you're up at 12 a.m. just doom scrolling, like swipe, 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 swipe. Yes. Swipe, 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 swipe. Yes. Like, that is not good for your like human psyche. Because then now you were thinking that like you're just consuming, and like now you're now feeding this idol basically of being in a relationship where God's like, no, I am your source. If you look to me, like, I will fill that void of where you're trying to swipe and like say yes. And trust that I will provide the person at the right time. And also trust that if I'm calling you to a life of singleness, like, I will still be good and your life is still going to be taken care of. But like, I think that the dating apps are purposely created to be addictive. And so like, now you have a whole bunch of DMs and you got all these messages, both male and female. And it's like, what am I supposed to do with this? And it's so much easier to now like lean on human intuition because you have all this options as opposed to leaning on Christ. And so like, for the people who like the clients that I have who aren't believers, I just like talk to them about like the dangers of like, how have you noticed the change in yourself when you are off of Instagram? Positive or negative? Positive.
Always.
Cool.
Yeah.
What about Facebook? Positive. Cool. Twitter? Positive. Bet. You do realize that Hinge, Twitter, Facebook dating, Bumble, they're all same thing. They're feeding you an algorithm, and you still wonder why you feel like crap about yourself.
Yeah.
It's because it's continuing to reinforce these negative internal shame messages that you have about yourself. I'm unworthy. I'm unloved. Nobody wants me. This person that you have made up in your mind that you like see them on Hinge and you're like, oh, I hope and wish. And they swipe on you. It's just another like reinforcement to that shame message. I'm not saying don't go on dating apps, because I think when they're used healthily, just like anything else, it can be great. But we are in a consumerist, overindulged society. Yeah. So it's honestly like really sad to see, bro. Like, just like the quality of dating is decreasing. Nobody's pursuing anyone anymore. Everybody's afraid of like the in-person interaction. Everybody wants to just slide in DMs. Nobody wants to go up to the person and be like, do you want to go get coffee sometime?
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, I could not agree with you more. I think the dating apps create a false perception of abundance. Yeah. That gives people the belief that the perfect version is available. Yep. And so there's this like, if I just wait, I'll find them. And it's just insane. Yep. It's wild. And I agree. I think the in-person thing is, people are scared of it. What's interesting to me, because I'm trying to not become more radicalized than I already am around where I see secular dating infiltrate the church. Because while I have heard that women say, oh, I really like men don't ever approach women in person anymore. Like this kind of traditional old school coming up to a girl, introducing yourself, having a conversation and asking you out. While I believe that there are people that want that, I have, in my own personal experience, but also in friends I know, experienced an incredible amount of rejection and reputation damage from someone being made uncomfortable by that and running away.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, like there are more than one people at our church that I have seen on dating apps who I had pleasant interactions with in person. And when I saw them on the dating app and I reached out and I sent them a message to say, hey, I now no longer am able to make eye contact with them and they no longer acknowledge my existence. And that's wild to me.
Yeah. Because
I have seen that people don't really want to be around people they've rejected. And so it's tough because I believe that like fundamentally, like in the ideal, we want people to pursue us, but we kind of want the right people to pursue us.
Yeah.
And there is not a safe place to say no. And I think men also contribute heavily to like, it's probably done inappropriately or not respectfully, or they make it weird after the fact.
Yeah.
But as someone who, I don't think that I'm weird after being told no, because when I ask someone on a date, it's not because I already like them. It's because what I know about them I think is great, and I would like to find out if I do like them. Dating is still kind of like, if you ask someone out, it kind of, in my opinion, is perceived as I already have a crush on you, and so I want to spend one-on-one time with you.
Yeah.
And that's a different conversation.
Straight up.
That's a high stakes. Oh, if I say yes, I'm maybe committing to more than I should. I don't know how I feel about you. I'm just going to say no to be safe, which is a fair interpretation if that's what that meant. It's just not always what it means. So like for you in church specifically, should men go up to a girl that they have never met but see on a Sunday morning and ask them out? Or is that different than going up to a girl at a bar and asking them out? Like if you don't know them, if you don't have any interaction with them, what's a healthy version of embracing that confidence without stepping into the I'm objectifying you from afar and now I'm coming up to ask you on a date? Because women also want to come to church and feel safe. Similarly to they want to go to the gym and not be, asked out by a bunch of guys. Like there's this read the room. So from a confidence perspective, and I'm asking you as like a single dude too, like what's a healthy version of embracing that confidence? Not knowing whether or not the confidence could be perceived as disrespect because of her experience with other men in different contexts. Yeah,
that's a good question, bro. And I'm honestly, I appreciate you asking that question. First thing I would like, if you had a sister, or picture if you had a sister, like how would you want your sister to be approached? And then after that, it's like, my dad always says this: men are microwaves, women are crock pots. So like you can just push a button and it's going to work for us. Typically you have to put in a little bit more for work for women. And that's, honestly, I think it's beautiful that is the case. So in order to create safety, I think it's like also like just like warming up to the ask. Don't be weird. Respect her boundaries. And if you like are getting a sense that like based off of her body language towards you that she's not interested, maybe don't ask. But if she's giving you like initiate conversation, hey, what are you up to? How's your day been going? Let's just say we're at the church. How often have you been going to the well? If she is like continuing to feed into the conversation, let it build up to like,
Yeah.
hey, would you be interested in going coffee? But if you don't feel like you have the confidence to ask that, or if it feels weird, trust what the Holy Spirit is saying in that state. Like, I think that's the other thing. We leave out the Holy Spirit when we want to ask somebody out.
Yeah.
Like, the Holy Spirit wants to be in that too.
Yeah.
And so if the Holy Spirit is saying not right now, trust it. Don't force it. Maybe do something else where it's a group hang. Or if it's like you see her one time, you do a touch point, you come back, and next Sunday you do another touch point. And just like let it work up to the ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's helpful. How do you think the church from the stage, from like the culture, how much should they be involved in the conversation around dating within the like church body? Like, should the church have, similarly to like we have, general theology or structure for like how we do things. Do you think there should be kind of a philosophy generally for like what dating within the church should look like?
From the stage?
Yeah, from the stage or from leadership to understand. And the reason I say this, I have strong feelings about this, and I'll give my answer after. But like, there are different places that are like, date each other. And then there are other places that are like, marriage is not the idol, just love Jesus, and kind of, implicitly push you away from pursuing marriage in the kind of obvious way. How do you think the church should be involved in the dating life, given that for most single people, that's 90% of their like current stress in life, especially if they're a believer and part of a church, is like, who's my spouse going to be?
Yeah. I think it's like, honestly, it's a lot of other sermon series that we've hit on. It's like, can you find the happy medium? Because I think that you should still date, but you still shouldn't idolize. Like, I think, and like, I don't say this to be flippant or dismissive, because I recognize that I also got married at a very young age. So I recognize and like hear.
Yeah, it's like a rich man telling a poor man money's not going to solve everything.
Yeah, literally. So I think that honestly, from the pulpit, that like Christ should be continued to be preached. Because as long as you are continuing to pursue Christ, like the Holy Spirit is going to guide you on how you should date, who you should pursue. And also like there's still like a need to still date and not to be afraid of that. I think if you just lean one way or the other, then that's where Christ can get lost in all of that. So I think there's more or less like, maybe not from the pulpit, but still like leadership and discipleship conversations. Having these kind of conversations. But then also like people being willing to bring this up in discipleship and like being willing to be challenged. Rather, if it's like, you're just like, Christ is my only thing that like I'm having my eyes on, and where maybe like the Holy Spirit's like, I actually want you to step into a season of dating. And being willing to receive the feedback from your discipler who's saying like, hey, like, have you considered dating? Like, let's flesh this out, and vice versa. What are your thoughts? I'm curious.
I think, so I would really love to know, like, I struggle with the like, just focus on Jesus and everything else will take care of itself. As a general rule, because it's not real helpful. I know it's the right thing and it's true, but it's for people who are like, but like, I have to make a decision to talk to her or not. So like focusing on Jesus, is true, but like, I still have to go to work every day. I still have to like do life. I still have to choose who my friends are going to be. Like, I have to operate. So for me, I crave practical wisdom from my spiritual leaders. I think what's hard right now in the dating world in church is that dating is seen as reactionary to established emotions rather than the primary tool to establish emotions based on building relationships. And so what has happened is we have gotten to a point where men only will ask you out if they already like you. And if that's true, then don't approach women at church on Sunday because you don't want to put the pressure on them
Yep.
to have an answer for you when they don't know you.
Yep.
And so what I would really love to see is a intentional shift on, hey, we need to remove the stakes around dating.
Yeah.
Someone asking, only the hot people shouldn't be getting asked out.
Agreed.
Like, that's a problem. Yeah. When only the cute, attractive looking people are getting asked out, that's a big problem.
Agreed.
One, it's a sign of where our priorities are as men, but also it's just like, it's incredibly damaging to the 95% of the world who doesn't fall into the most beautiful category. And guess what? We're all not going to get to marry tens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever that means. But we also shouldn't be idolizing that.
Facts.
So that's a problem. To me, that's a big problem. But also just the stakes of like, what does it mean to go on a date?
Yeah.
Why is it so emotionally charged? Where it's like, oh, if I say yes to this, I'm like admitting attraction. You don't have to be attracted to someone to go on a date with them.
Yeah.
You
or even
don't.
like entirely attractive.
Right.
Like you can find some part
exactly.
of them attractive.
It's like the number of wedding toasts that I've heard from brides being like, I never thought of him as a potential spouse, but then eventually I just fell in love with him. And then I saw him as handsome and good looking, whatever. Like, that's just like, that seems to be a theme through all successful relationships. And yet we're convinced that we need to be like in it from the beginning. But I think that's what's tough. And once again, I know that I am so biased because what I see, my perspective is I have a bunch of guy friends that I think are going to be incredible husbands and fathers, but they're not 6 foot. They like video games. They like Lord of the Rings, and they're a little bit weird.
Yeah, come on.
They're not super athletic, right?
Yeah.
And so I just know. I mean, none of them have matches. And then I have female friends who are pretty cool, awesome, fun girls, and they have so many matches. And they have so many men who are reaching out to them and frustrated because most of that is disrespectful and not helpful. And I'm like, this is the two worlds that we live in is just so different.
Yeah.
I'm seeing women struggle with finding quality, not quantity.
Yeah.
Which is fair and legitimate and a necessary thing that needs to be addressed. And then I see men who have no quantity and are just like, I would just love a date.
Yeah.
And the reason that they don't want to ask girls out is not because of confidence. It's not because of they have crazy standards. It's if she says no, I don't know if we can still be around each other.
Yeah.
Either because I'm going to be weird about it or she might be weird about it. But if there were, so I think that's that's my analysis of how things are.
Yeah.
Based on what I've seen, based on my experience, when after I asked a girl out and she said no, our relationship changed very drastically. I mean, I had one girl who literally gave me her number and then never responded to the text and now won't make eye contact with me. Man. Which is fine. Maybe she gave it to me and she didn't really mean it. And it was just like she shouldn't have given it to me or whatever. That's whatever. But I think that's the current culture right now is going on a date's really significant.
Yes.
What I think is really the only way to change that is for someone else that's not one of the two people to say, hey, go on dates with each other, ask each other out, stop making it weird. We're telling you to do it. So that way, when he asks you out, you're not like, have you been looking at me and stalking me for a while? Are you obsessed with me? But more like, oh, no, our spiritual parents have told us kids that we need to change our perspective. We need to get out of our own way and we need to start doing things more the way Jesus calls us to do, which is to look at each other as brothers and sisters in Christ, as in you're equally valuable. And maybe we are an awesome pair.
Yeah.
And I think that would be incredibly helpful.
Yep.
But I do know that it can get messy and people have different experiences, and someone might not be like, why is my pastor telling all the guys to ask me out?
Yeah.
Obviously, like I don't know what it should look like.
I got you. I think honestly I think there's just like I think there's an onus of people who are in the season of dating being willing to disciple. Because I think that's we're getting discipled by something, whether we like it or not.
Exactly.
And so what we're seeing and flowing over into the church is that there's a lot of discipleship that's happening within our culture,
right?
Dating shows, all that stuff.
Yeah. And
so there's just this gap. It's people who are married or like been married for a long time that are discipling the single people,
right?
But there's this missing in between, and I don't know why, but for whatever reason, once people like start dating, they've all of a sudden become so busy that they can't, share time with someone to disciple them through like, yo, this is what I did in order to be able to get my boyfriend or my girlfriend. Yeah. This is what it's been like to like walk this out. This is how he asked me, and I hated that he asked me this way. Maybe you should ask this way, and vice versa. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. Just a thought. That's just what I've been seeing.
No, I think you're spot on. Like we are all in the classroom learning. Someone's teaching us. It's like, which classroom are you in?
Facts.
And who's discipling you? I totally agree. And once again, like what's so hard for me in this is that I don't even have access to talk to other girls about their experience dating because it feels like we're back in middle school a little bit. Where it's like you go to CG and like the girls are in that table and the boys are at this table.
That's true, bro.
And it's crazy.
Yeah.
Because in some sense, we feel like we're in this super progressive, liberal, like we're liberated from our, old traditional conservative chains and like we're all free. But actually, no, we're pretty like... No, we're together and we can't talk about this. And so for me, the biggest thing is someone who like wants to talk is I know that I have one viewpoint and I don't have the other viewpoint. And so I feel this like women are the problem and men aren't the problem. But I know that's not true.
Yeah. I
know that I even have standards that are silly. I even have fleshly desires that I shouldn't prioritize that I'm prioritizing. But I'm trying to fight to like not let those things drive. Yeah. And I don't want to like place blame. I really want to like, how do we do this? Like how I only get to be best friends with one woman in my life. But until I have her, I have to know how to manage meaningful friendships with women.
Yeah.
I also have to know how I can be intentional without being creepy, with being kind and complimentary without being disrespectful. And I know people will say it's so obvious and easy to know what's disrespectful and what's not. And I promise you, there are some things that you could say to one person that they would love and would just make their day.
Straight up.
And that exact same thing in the exact same tone and the exact same delivery could really be a trigger for or potentially put someone off.
Yep.
That's just real.
Yep.
And in dating in the church, it's like, this is supposed to be my one safe place. I cannot risk messing it up, which is why I know a lot of guys won't ask out any girls in their CG.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's like, that could be awkward. I mean, we've had people in our CG date and break up and now they're not in the same CG.
Yeah.
Which is like socially a totally understandable thing. But then it answers the question, well, why isn't no one asking me out? Because you're in their small group and they really love their small group. And they're not sure if you would be okay with, they're not sure if you'd say yes.
Yep.
Or they're not sure if you did say no, that you'd still be cool after the fact. Or they're not sure, I'm not sure they'll be cool if I say no after the fact. All of these things are happening inside and no one's talking about them.
Facts.
And yet in all of my one-on-ones, it's just a bunch of, man, dating apps are the worst. This is tough. I don't know. And also the age demographic of like our church is, you don't know if someone's 19 or 29.
That's true. That's true.
And which is also just like, okay, that's tough. So we have different life stages and different, we have a lot of college students. And so I think the fact that the parents in the room aren't really necessarily facilitating much of the conversation. By parents, I mean like older, mature, are married, are dating, or are willing to step into that. We're just kind of like, okay, so we're just all like swiping with each other and looking at each other from afar. And the number of times I've had people send me screenshots of Hinge profiles, be like, this girl goes to the well, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. I mean, if you swipe right on her, send her a message, maybe she'll appreciate it. Maybe I don't know. Do you go up? Like, these are questions I want to ask women. Yeah. It's like, hey, if a guy sees you on Hinge, should he come up to you and tell you in person?
Yeah.
Yes or no? Because I really don't know the answer. Is that weird? Is that uncomfortable?
I don't know, bro.
And so,
but to your point, it varies.
Yes, exactly.
Because it's interesting that we're having this conversation, because I kid you not, earlier this week, some people, some women that go to our church, bro, same thing, wanting to be pursued. But there's other women that I've had the conversation with. They said they would get the ick if they're pursued.
Exactly.
So you're right, bro. And I think that like the church is trying to figure out how to navigate like the culture that we're in, because like our parents' generation of dating is so different. But now like our parents are now like the older part of the church.
Yeah.
And then the newer part of the church is like that population that went to either Christian church or like Christian camps, ring before spring thing. So everybody got like married really young. But then now it's like this really weird gap of now we've been like inundated with all of these different like 90-Day Fiance, Love is Blind, all these different things that's like, and then you get hit with dating apps like right around the same time to now it's creating like this really weird dating culture where we're also not talking to each other directly anymore. And then like, depending upon wherever you fall, like internally, like values wise, that like you're either traditional or you're not, and you're a little bit more progressive, and nothing's wrong with that. But it's just like all these different things that like, I don't think our parents had to navigate. Yeah. And so now there's just a need for discipleship and like honest, probably roundtable conversations. And I'm glad we're having this conversation. Me too. Because it's not being had, bro. Right.
That's my biggest thing is like, I'm okay with recognizing when something is challenging and understanding why. And like, this is with more freedom comes more responsibility to be intentional and to be disciplined. Yeah. So like, yes, when you have so many options, then you have the paradox of choice, which is who do I choose? I have all these. Yeah. And then so, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, I just arrange it for me, right? Like we kind of yearn for the old days because it would be less stressful, right? It's like walking down the detergent aisle at Walmart. You're just like, just give me one. Like, I don't want to have to pick through all these, because what if I pick the wrong one? What if I don't pick the best one? And so there's this desire. And so I'm okay with, yes, with dating apps and with like all the new choices. Awesome. Yep. Now it's tough. What's hard is that we don't talk about it. Yep. And like you said, some girls would be like, that gives me the ick if you were to do that. And for other women, it's like, oh, I would love that, right? There's a whole trend going on right now. Yes. Of like, I want the yearning, bring back the yearning. If you have chalant, that I don't want nonchalant, I want all the chalant. And it's like, I believe you mean that. But all the chalant guys I know have been cheated on and left for the edgy, non-committed 6'3" muscular dude. Yeah. That's a small sample size. I get it. But
and
like,
vice versa.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But like, for everyone that says, I want this, I've seen people who have done that be just left for the better, shinier thing. Yep. And so it's like, yeah, I would love to have conversations about this, because to me, the conversation is what's most productive. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to agree with what someone else might say, but I would love to know where you're at. I would love to know how you're thinking about things. I would love to know how I am is going to be interpreted by you or someone like you. Yeah. And then what does Jesus have to say about it?
Yeah.
Because you might have an opinion that's just bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I might have an opinion that's just like wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't get to say, this is my preference. No, there are some actual like objectively right and wrong ways to do this. Yeah. There's a lot of nuance and gray area, and you can have your preference. And if you want them to be a certain way, like you're allowed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But if some of your things are around your sin issue, that's separate.
Yeah.
Like, do you want him to make 6 figures because you want to be a stay-at-home mom and raise kids in the home and be the primary disciple maker and focus on that? And in today's culture, in this city, you need 6 figures for that, for 2 income, whatever. Mm-hmm. That's a very different thing than I want him to make 6 figures so that with my 6 figures and his 6 figures, we can like have all this stuff.
Yeah.
So same value, 2 completely different core motivations. One very different than the other. Mm-hmm. And so we just don't talk about it. And so we're guessing at what the women are thinking. They're guessing at what we're thinking. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I would love to do roundtables. I would love for the Well to do a speed dating event.
Yeah.
Where it's like remove the need to ask people out and have someone approach you. Just get 5 minutes with a bunch of people. If anything, the next Sunday you walk into church, you have 30 conversations worth of interactions with people where you're like, oh, hey, I know you a little bit, right? It's like, it creates a third party orchestrated this. So now I'm not interpreting your intentions. Someone else had the intention. Things like that, I think would be super helpful.
Yeah. That's a good idea, bro. Yeah. It's just like, I think it's what we're coming down to really is like, we have to be able to see Christ rightly.
Yeah.
But in seeing Christ rightly, not being dismissive of singles and like just trying to throw Jesus glitter over everything and think that's going to fix it.
Yeah.
There needs to be intentionality in creating spaces for us, safe spaces for our singles within the church. Because if they're not going to find it within the church, they're going to find it anywhere else. And so I agree with you, bro. And then I think the third, I lost my number of track, but I think it's also just intentional discipleship. We talked about it earlier. Are you confessing in discipleship? Like for women, like confessing what you want in a partner. Yeah. And like allowing for yourself to be challenged by your disciple. Like, the muscles are great, but when you're fighting, you're not going to care about those muscles. Exactly. You're going to be like, you're a big, stupid idiot.
Right.
And same thing for men, though. It's like, are you confessing your sexual sin? And is your sexual sin either hindering you from stepping out in boldness that God has given you? Or are you seeing women and objectifying women based off of last night's scroll?
Right.
But to your point, nobody wants to have the conversation, bro. Yeah. And that's like so important. And I think that's where like the healing will start to happen. Yeah. Is that 10% that you talked about earlier too. Like leaning in that 10%. And I think that's like why we're having such a hard time with dating, bro. It's that 10% is rejection. There's a lot of fear. And that's all Satan's plan. That's exactly what he's wanted. Yeah. So it's just sad to see how it's like, it's been a slow progression up. And like now it's like becoming almost a pandemic in a way.
Oh yeah. We have an epidemic of loneliness.
Epidemic. That's the word. Thank you. Thank you.
It's taken over.
Yeah.
All right, man. We got to wrap up. That camera's about to die. So for people who are maybe watching me, I might disappear in a second, but we're still recording. I just want to say, man, thank you. You are wise beyond your years.
Thank you, bro.
And as tough as it is to see a good-looking, muscular, married man with children have it all together, you are such an example.
Thank you, bro.
And yeah, we need more of this. And we need more men who are willing to lay down their life, their dreams, for the sake of the gospel, in how they serve the church, how they serve their family, how they serve their friends. And so you've been an encouragement to me, even from afar, in your consistency. I love getting to watch you carry your son back into service. It's just so fun to see how you serve, and thank you. Yeah, I'm really glad to be part of the Well. And I think it's it's guys like you and conversations like this that make it go so well with the church and the success we've had. And so, yeah, man, I really appreciate everything you've been doing.
Appreciate you, bro.
Awesome, dude.